Good morning, everybody. It's Jillian. Wow. It's pretty interesting. After reversing all of my issues and everything, one of the biggest banes of my existence was my sleep schedule prior to the J juice. It was so weird and insane. And especially like 2 weeks before my period, like prior to the J juice, it was like I would be so tired and would have to like call in sick or something and then sleep all day almost and then be up all night. And that would actually happen for a couple days. So this is all prior to the J juice. 2 weeks before my period, my PMDD, I'd be eating so much carbs and so much stuff. And then I would sleep for like, hours and hours during the day and then be up all night. And then I'd be like a zombie the next day. And it would happen for a couple days until I was so tired that I would be able to sleep at night. Okay. Or I would be up, like, I would be up. Like, I would have like a very opposite effect. Like, I'd be so adrenalized. And this is all hormonal prior to the J juice. My hormones were so cattywampus prior to the J juice and prior to my period. That's what was killing me, and that was what's messing with me and my moods and everything. And so I knew I had to do something because you can't live like that. Where 2 weeks prior to your period, that's like every 2 weeks you're going through some kind of major hormonal shift where you can't regulate, and then being all bloated and then just irritable. I mean, that was horrible. And so that's what women have to deal with, especially if she's at childbearing age. And so this is one of the posts I put on my Facebook yesterday, is that if you're a man and you expect to have relations with your wife or girlfriend and you don't want kids, men get snipped. So that way the woman can find a way to do the J juice without having to bring in something foreign in her body that will mess with her hormones, or it be some kind of object that the body's going to try to push out anyways. Because there's not a lot of men on my Facebook with their wives doing the J juice or girlfriends. So if you're not doing the J juice, men, and you have a wife or girlfriend on the J juice, get snipped. Okay? And when you're planning to have kids, then you can always reverse that. So anyways, so with what's going on now with all these variants, after I reverse all my issues, periods are always going to be, for me, they're going to be relative to what's going on in the environment. So the day of or the day before of my period and during that time is going to be pretty difficult based upon the viruses and the evolution in the environment. So that's great. I could deal with that. I know that's going to be expected. No big deal. I don't have to deal with the 2 weeks before. Like, I don't even know when I'm going to get my period now. But I know I'm going to get it because the environment is very aggressive with new variants. So that's going to be expected. Stopping my period is not going to... Hold on. Stopping my period is not going to happen anytime soon when we have 7 billion people mutating viruses. So anyways, but with these new variants that are in the environment, I do get tired. Not all the time. When there's a new one that's really aggressive, like my dog can feel it, then I'll feel tired maybe around 12 and have to sleep for like a couple hours in the middle of the day. But then I sleep like a baby at night. I'm not up all night. Okay, I'm not up all night at all. Sometimes, I'll wake up and I'll check my Facebook and I'll whatever, and I'll listen to a video, and then I'll fall asleep, and I'll sleep for a good amount of time. And so sleep after I reverse my issues and even on the J juice is actually really, really good, because when you do your waterfalls, you're tired. I mean, sleep is restorative. People that hardly ever sleep, they may be getting a lot done, but guess what? They're aging faster. So that's why and that's why this chronic fatigue is the body trying to repair itself. And when you have chronic fatigue, but the body isn't actually reversing the aging process, then you're having a wasted symptom of evolution. Just like when somebody brings in a lot of nutrition on the front end, but it loses it on the back end. That's like when you're in chronic fatigue, it's not doing anything for you, especially if that's a syndrome that a person is diagnosed with. And so on the J juice, yeah, you're doing the waterfalls, you'll be tired. So it's better to figure out when you want to do waterfalls so that way you can afford to sleep and you don't shit in your bed. Okay, I'm sure it's happened to some of you because, yeah, you do it too close to bedtime and you haven't gotten everything out. Yeah, sometimes it may happen. You have a fart and then bam, dang it. So, but yeah, I mean, the sleep, so now after reversing all my issues and I still feel variance in the environment, I'll sleep for a couple hours during the day and then at night I sleep like a baby. And, I get sleep without having, really the TV on. And I do listen to some videos at night, but I fall asleep to it and then it stops sometimes, like the YouTube video stops and it'll be dark and it'll just be quiet and I can actually sleep through that. I don't need to have something all the time. And sometimes I do, sometimes need to have it to fall asleep, but then when I'm sleeping, it's all good. But, I just want to let you know that you guys, there's so much available if you do the J juice. If you just get through your physical symptoms, like seriously, if you get through your physical symptoms and your physical evolution, I'm telling you, your hormones and your circadian rhythms, everything in your world is going to change. The way you look at the world is going to change. And I'm telling you, I value sleep. It is not something that I take for granted. People know that as soon as I go to bed, like here, my husband's friends know that as soon as I go to bed around, I don't say I go to bed at 6:30 or whatever. I usually go to bed around between 6:30 and 7, but I don't usually fall asleep until about maybe like 8 or 9 or maybe 10. And I can feel my body shutting down as far as sleep around 10. But I start really decompressing and relaxing between, 6, 7, and 8. But I know some of you have a lot going on. You can't afford to do that. But I can. I've set my life up to where it's really, giving me that opportunity to take care of myself. Because all my energy right now is going towards my book. Like, that's what I've geared my life towards, is my book, my dog, and my husband. And those are the 3 priorities right now. Well, me too. I'm a priority as well. 4 priorities. I've kept my world very simple because I'm trying to accomplish certain things. Okay? And so when I'm done with my book, there's going to be other stuff I'm going to be doing, yes. But will I stay up later? Well, I might or might not. It just depends. Once I'm done with my book, I'm like, okay, there'll be another book that my friend is going to help write that you guys will like it. So that way, some of you that are religious, you won't want to, maybe you don't want to read this book that I'm currently writing, so you'll want to have like a primer. My friend's going to help write a primer that's going to have all the information that's all scientific and leaving out the religion part of it, religious aspect. Because some people don't want to deal with that. Some people are atheists. They don't want to deal with that. They just want the science and that's it. They don't care about anything else. I get it. Well, we're going to give that to you. That's what the current book is at right now, the evolution. But all the science in there, I mean, it's correct, but it's not complete. And I want to make sure that you have a complete scientific version and then a complete scientific version mixed with politics and religion. So you see the bigger picture. Okay? And so that's really my plan. And then the different languages. Okay? But I might take a breather in between that. But I'm definitely going to be, working on stuff. But right now, my life is very, very, very geared towards my evolution with this writing of this book. And so if you guys have a specific goal in mind, because, yeah, there's always going to be, you're always going to have your job. You're always going to have your kids. You're always going to have the certain priorities in your world. But if there's a specific goal you want to achieve as far as the healing process, you got to get your world a bit more simplified so you can devote time to sleep. Because sleep is probably the most important thing. Just being able to just let your body repair itself. And do you have to have like 8 or 9 hours? Not necessarily. I mean, you could have maybe 6 or 7, but it just depends. If your body is tired and you're trying to take pick-me-ups and monsters and coffees, because you got to go and do this and do that, then you really have to find time to then do the J juice, eat a bunch of food, and take a day. If you have like a busy week, take a day and just devote it to yourself. Where you can actually sit and watch a Netflix without having to turn on pause because somebody or something needs something. Now, if you have a kid, I understand kids need stuff, but there's ways to prioritize to where you can really devote time to yourself, because that's really the only time you're going to be able to heal. Okay, yeah, you can do J juice, you can drink food or eat food and do your waterfalls, but rest is so paramount. And some of you are being tortured because your hormones are so messed up that you can't even sleep throughout the night. I feel bad for those that really can't sleep throughout the night, that they're like, up way late, and then they have to get up early, and they have so many responsibilities, and they have pains and chronic issues, and they're not getting the restorative, reparative sleep. They're not getting any kind of restoration. They're not getting any reparations in their body, and they're declining. And some of them are in my group that are dealing with this, and I doubt they're doing J juice because they are suffering and they're not doing anything about it. And if they are, they're not telling anybody they're doing something about it. And so you're just like, dude, you have this, as much as people have kids and they can say, well, I have kids, well, I can't do J juice. If you've trained your kids to be relatively self-sufficient, you could do J juice and as long as your kids are old enough, okay? But you could train. When my parents wanted to take a nap, the afternoon naps, we would be in our room with the door closed, and they'd have their door closed, and we would just stay in our room and play with our toys. We would be separated because my mom didn't want us to fight. So when they had to get their rest on the weekend, we would be in our rooms. And if that's what you have to do to get your sense of who you are and your rest, then do that. But some of you haven't trained your kids to do that. They haven't trained to be really by themselves. You've trained your kids to kind of just be on your back 24/7. So you've created that situation. And so, yeah, I can see how it'd be hard to do J juice and devote time to yourself. But I have definitely set up my life where I have my time where, my dog is taken care of. My husband's relatively taken care of. He's pretty self-sufficient. He doesn't need too much. I do the cooking. I do relative cleaning. And I say relative. And I pay the bills and I do the things that I could do, like take the garbage around and bring the garbage cans in type of stuff. And I do the laundry and all that. But that's the extent of it. I don't, right now at this point when I have things that I have to take care of and have a priority and sleep, I have my chores in the evening. I make the dinner, I make his lunch, and I put the coffee pot on, and then I'm done. And so there's very specific things that I know that need to get done for him, because that's how I show I support him. And then I have my own me time so I can get the sleep, so I can get the relaxation, because I value my body. I value having that downtime to also watch some of these movies to see like, wow, holy crap. And to also find a way to deliver some information out there and to have it translated in my book to where I can have another awakening, another realization. And so that's how my life is set up. And so, I offer to you guys, I'm telling you, do the J juice, find the time to take time for yourself. Because I tell you, the world will always have something going on. It will always have something going on. Okay? And so then you have to start carving out your peace and your time for yourself, for your healing process. Imagine what it'd be like to just be able to sleep in. Like my sleeping in for me is around 8 o'clock. Maybe, 8 o'clock. But even on the weekend when my husband's here, I sleep until about maybe, 7 or 8. That's about it. My dog will sleep in longer. She'll sleep until 9. So my dog actually sleeps a lot more because, when I'm typing during the day and I don't take a nap, she's sleeping on the couch next to me. You've seen her. And then she sleeps all night. And then if there's a variant in the environment, she gets her lightning bolts of energy. And then she's really tired too. And I give her some of the J juice and the food supply, and she's tired. And so she sleeps in, longer than me. And I say, hey, that's great, sugar, because I'm telling you, She is so soft. I mean, tell me, her fur. She hasn't had any fleas. I have not seen a flea or a tick on her this season. Like they say, one of my neighbors said that it's like the fleas and ticks are really bad. I'm like, yeah, okay. 'Cause I don't want to tell her, well, my dog doesn't have any fleas. Like there is no flea on her at all. Like her skin is so soft. Her fur is so soft. Um, the only thing that she has, that little tiny tumor on the back of her head that is not messing, that's not doing anything. It's just kind of there, and eventually it'll go down. But she is like the most healthiest dog I've ever felt. Like when I first got Sugar, her fur was kind of like coarse, and you could tell that she's a shelter dog. She's from the streets. She was bred to have puppies. She was probably, owned by a backyard breeder. She had several litters, I'm sure. But as I got her on the J juice and dealt with all of her healing process, she has turned into this very, very calm, very beautiful animal that I'm just amazed by her transformation. And I give her the time and the latitude to sleep. I don't wake her up. I don't have her do anything crazy. You know, she doesn't even need walks. She just wants to go out to the backyard, run her circuit. She'll get her zoomies occasionally, not all the time. And she's fine with this stuff because we live in a kind of a ghetto neighborhood where, yeah, there's people that stray dogs and weird people. And I have taken her walks around here, but it's very sketchy. And so, my gut sense is that, okay, I'm good with what we're doing. And I'm fine, because I'll tell you, living in a kind of a ghetto where they like you, no one messes with you. Yeah, there's definitely, weird people that do illicit stuff, doors down over here, you hear gunshots over here, like a couple of blocks away, but nothing really too nearby. I'm not worried about that. I don't go hang out and walk, to the convenience store. I don't, I know what the deal is. So she's very, very happy with where she's at. I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. And life is okay. But I just want to give you guys an opportunity to start really looking at putting time aside to sleep, because sleep is so important. When you have a lot of poop in your system, you're tired and so I went through that process too, where when I was full of shit, I was tired. That's what made me so tired. And then when I took a poop, I had energy, right? I don't even have that anymore. I am very regular with pooping and regular with the sleep. Even if I take a nap during the day because of a new variant, I'll take I'll take a nap around 12 and get up around 3 and be like, oh, and then I'll probably wake up when my husband gets home, and then I'll still be able to go to sleep at night too. So it means that my body needs that sleep because of the new variant. The body's repairing, it's restoring. And I did a shot of J juice a day or so ago. I don't really need too much J juice now. Because my body is so regular. If I were to do J juice now, I would get thinner because I'd have to keep up with the food supply to keep bringing back the fat, because the J juice does take the fat off and it doesn't take muscle off, it takes the fat off, and then I have to keep bringing more food in to bring the fat and the sugar and all that stuff. And so when you're doing the J juice, yes, you need to bring the J juice to release all the poop in your body. And then as you see your body losing weight, then you got to, maybe lessen a little bit of J juice and eat more of the food so you can start balancing out your weight. You don't want to be too skinny and you don't want to be too obese. It becomes that balance. So you have to understand what J juice does. It definitely brings in energy to then allow the cell channels to open and close and release the excess. But you also have to bring in the sugar and the fats and all the different, meats and proteins and all of that. And so there is that balance. That's why I say you don't lose weight by eating less. You lose weight by shitting more and not taking laxatives, by doing the J juice and the waterfalls. And then when you get tired, you sleep. Okay? You listen to your body. Set your life up for you to win, not for somebody else to win, but for you to win. Because if you're not around, your job isn't around. If you're not around, then your kid's not going to have, what it is that he or she needs. And so yeah, anyways, so I want to give you guys that sleep is very important. And Um, never take it for granted. And then I've learned that, because you saw me too waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Remember that a couple months back? I was up at 3 in the freaking morning, and I'd be up, and then I'd be crashing around 12 or 1. And so I haven't done that in a while. I kind of missed that, but then it didn't make sense. Why would I be up at 3 in the morning? Because that was during the whole COVID hormonal change. The COVID changes you. Okay, if you haven't realized that, if you haven't really figured that out, the COVID-19 changes you, and you will go through a biochemical change along with you doing the J juice. Okay, and so I went through that. I went through the crushing headaches. I went through the sleep disturbances, the sugar drops, all the things that you would go through when your body's being exposed to a new biochemistry, a new variant, and a new anything. And so I'm telling you, the COVID will definitely increase your intellect if you allow your body to do what it needs to do. The COVID will innovate you. It will evolve you, but you have to allow your body to go through that process, and you can't mitigate the you can't mitigate the evolution by taking your pills, powders, supplements, detoxes, and all of your different remedies because you don't want to feel pain. That's not the point. Okay, so even the vaccine can innovate you, so could the virus, and then how you react to your evolution will determine whether or not you have a long lifespan or short lifespan. Okay, and then your MKUltra, since you don't have my background, your MKUltra is going to be dealing with the pain. So if you want to know how people become so amazing from MKUltra, from the stress of MKUltra, the pain from whether it's mild or very severe, because they're able to deal with pain. Okay, why is it that we have such great military guys and women? Because they went through basic training. They went through the pain. Okay, why is it that people are great, when they come out of college and they've gone through all the different hazing rituals? Because they dealt with pain. Now, no one's going to lay their hands on you during the J juice, but you have to deal with your own issues and the pain of healing. That is a type of MKUltra, but no one's inflicting it on you without your permission. You are giving yourself permission to deal with your evolution, your healing. So in a lot of ways, the MKUltra is an external way of making you a great person with character, but with a lifespan. Now, if you actually went through your own personal MKUltra of pain, then you can live indefinitely and you won't be subject to somebody else's programming. That's the difference between MKUltra out there and then your personal evolution through the J juice and the healing process, feeling the pain. So those of you that are aware of MKUltra, you know the benefits of it because you see it in Hollywood. But what about your personal world? What about your personal world? And that means you have to face your demons. That means that you have to fight the demons within you so you can handle the healing process. And that is your own personal boot camp, MKUltra boot camp, whatever. Because any kind of stress is going to make a person great if it's supported correctly. But if you want to live a stress-free lifestyle and you want to be anesthetized your whole life, then there's no way that you're going to build character. There's no way you're really going to achieve anything worth anything to you or anyone else because you have everything given to you and your life is so easy that you're going to atrophy. And people don't exercise the stresses in their body and exercise not say exercise, but, be able to face their demons, then yeah, there's no muscles being flexed back and forth. Their brain isn't flexing. Their body isn't flexing. They're not facing the things that cause them to have weaknesses. And so they atrophy and then they turn into jelly. And that's happened to a lot of people when they get older. They turn into jelly. And so Jilly just does bring about character because it's a type of MKUltra with benefits that isn't detrimental, that you're going to have to go through anyways. But that's what I think those that understand pain, that's how they used pain to control you, to make you afraid of it, or they inflict it to make you a star. So you have to understand. You have to understand how this world works. You can't take a side. You have to understand why everything happens, but you have to be able to clear your gut so you can clear your mind so you can see it from both sides. If you haven't cleared your gut, you haven't cleared your mind, there's no way you're going to freaking see both sides of any story. So, all right. You guys have a good day. Bye.